What's up guys, DukeSloth here, and we're back for the patch notes review. I did the live kind of thing earlier, and like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to make the review today. I have time now. Sorry about the audio issues on the earlier one. It was just a bit unfortunate because I couldn't really hear how loud the stream was compared to me, and also the mic volume changed between every person that was talking on stream, so a little bit awkward, my bad. But now it should be fine, because we don't really have anyone else talking, and we're just going to go through the patch notes. We're going to do this relatively quickly, because I've already talked about them once, and this is going to be like the shorter version. So we are beginning with the skins here real quick. We have Queen Cobra Medusa and Galactic Void Chernobog, as well as Crystal Colossus Ymir, which we'll all see in bigger here. That's the Medusa skin. Interesting that they didn't use the card out here, but this looks pretty nice too. I think the skin doesn't really have that much to offer compared to all the other skins she has, but oh well. That's the Chernobog skin that you've all probably seen a lot at this point because it's been advertised a lot as the bonus for the event. And that's the Ymir skin, which kind of looks a bit like the new Sobek skin as well. But I think looks pretty cool, has a tail and has a different head as well. And then we have Polar Vortex Kukulkan, which I think has really cool ice effects, especially on his 3. Looks really nice in that regard and has a really cool voice pack. While he looks a little cuter than this in game, in my opinion. And then we have a new Achilles sci-fi skin as well, where when he takes off the armor, he will have these fiber muscles instead of his normal actual upper body, which is not my style, but for those who like it. And there's a Violet Lord Thor skin, which is kind of the same style as the Aphrodite skin, and has this little orb hammer, which normally is just an orb scepter basically, and then turns into a hammer when he attacks. Now we're gonna quickly listen to the voice packs, so if you're on your headphones, turn on your speakers in case these are loud.
If they don't surrender to me now, then they will surrender to me at my worst!
I fly on wings of stardust and ash.
I have wiped out countless raids. No one has yet come close to defeating me.
The winter storm has arrived.
Yeah, I love that one.
Never thought I would come back more powerful than I already was. I feel fantastic.
I will only help you all for a price, of course. What is it you offer me in return?
Alright, so those are the voice packs. And we have a new mode. Medusa's Deathmatch 3v3. You get a 3v3v3. You get a bonus for killing guards that gives you more power, so you can't just hang around lazily. In the back, there is a circle that closes in that will deal damage over time if you stay outside the circle. There is stealth grass in this mode, and there's an objective in the middle that gives you extra power, and that's basically all you need to know. Other than that, it's just a 3v3v3 beatdown, which I think is overall really cool. Oh, and there are health pots that give you a little bit of a shield as well on the ground. And the leveling and gold is the same for everyone after every round, so it always stays fair, and the first team to win 3 rounds wins the game. And I think this mode is really interesting, but I also think it's going to break a ton of things in the game. Because, I mean, I think some guards will just not be in the mode, like Morrigan and Kali, but some things are just, you know, weird in this scenario like this, and it's going to be very interesting how that works out, like even how some passives work. And all that kind of stuff. Thor passive, for example, that actually trigger from both kinds of enemies. So, I like it, but I think it's going to be very disastrous in the beginning, and it's already turned off on PTS at the moment because something's not working right. And there's a bundle along with that, the Medusa's Deathmatch bundle, which includes the Queen Cobra Medusa skin that we saw, Medusa's Deathmatch Ward skin, Medusa's Deathmatch Jump skin, a 3-day booster, 2 times the death scrolls on games played, for other rewards, and a gold key. The gold key unlocks the new Achilles skin. I don't see anything about what the death scrolls actually do or what you get out of them, but we'll find out then. Then there is the new Crystalline bundle for the Crystal Colossus Ymir, Crystalline Fountain skin, and Ymir is here Avatar. There are new additions to the Awesome Chest, all kinds of skin, and to the Fantasy Points store. Fantasy Points store, that's Shaolin Fury, Mercury, Fabulous Chiron, and Brynhilder Bacchus. We have a ton of bug fixes, and as we didn't go through the bug fixes on the actual patch notes, we're going to do that here. Fixed issues where players could not scroll properly on the following pages, blah, 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 blah. So scrolling is fixed. Fixed an issue where swapping skins in the god selection lobby could prevent the player from banning from banning a god. Good. That was a really bad bug. Fixed an issue where the scoreboard could display incorrect information after a player disconnects. So no more physical defense on magicals. Fixed an issue where the replay button would not function and could bring users into a bad state. Fixed an issue where the in-game mute button would sometimes not mute players. Console only. Fixed an issue where viewing a friend's recent history resulted in a crash. That must be frustrating. Fixed an issue where visiting the player profile screen could cause lag and in some cases crashes. Fixed an issue where evolving items that provide health could provide a heal when fully evolved. That's actually pretty funny, but obviously not intended. Fixed an issue where the thumb mouse button could trigger pings randomly on the minimap. Fixed an issue where allied health bars were displaying around, during the arena tutorial intro cinematic. Okay, I guess. Fixed an issue where the chest tab would display no chests under certain conditions. Fixed an issue where selecting go to on a ward notification would bring you to the ward page being covered by the profile player page, whatever. Fixed an issue where the switch filter text was cut off on the player profile. Fixed an issue where searching for a pantheon could result in a crash. Fixed an issue where emotes would still show as gray unpurchased even after they were purchased. Fixed an issue where players could avoid the fire giant wall, allowing them to leave and enter without taking damage. Fixed an issue where queuing too quickly would result in a timer for the queue not appearing. Oh, I had that before. And 2 spectator fixes as well. Fixed an issue where some frames would overlay on top of each other when opening the options menu. Fixed an issue where toggling expert mode would result in UI elements appearing on top of each other. Whew, never doing that again. And that brings us to item balance. Heavenly Wings. Very simple. The item was picked up too much in competitive. Apparently, there was too much aggression potential early on, so the movement speed bonus is decreased from 30 to 20%. Same with the upgrade. As it still has decent benefits as an anti-slow item and a engaged item, I think it will not really change much. Though it seems odd to me that it's not rather some other team effective relics getting buffs, like for example Cursed Ankh, which is really not that great until it's upgraded, or some others really. Like I just feel that Heavenly Wings is not exactly completely overpowered, but others are just a bit underpowered. And then there is Celestial Legion Helm. Updated description text to make it more clear that stacks are only lost on physical guard damage. So this was just not in the description before. It sounded like it could be minions or something as well. And now we know it's just guards. Doesn't really change the item though. An item that is changed is Hydra's Lament. Hydra's Lament increased basic attack bonus damage from 40 to 50%, which I think is strong for Hunbats, Daji, to some extent Susano. And those are like the ones where I think it really can make a difference. There are more, obviously. Those are not the only guys that can use that, but those are the ones where I'm like, yep. Could also bring Thor back a little more. That's yet to be determined. The interesting thing here is that the intention was apparently also to like focus just less on bursty assassins that way, but at the same time, a lot of these assassins are still very bursty. Daji is very bursty. Susano is very bursty for the most part, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. But I think for those guards that can make very good use of it, Hydra's Lament can be an item after Boots again now, which it wasn't really able to be anymore before, with Crusher being in the picture and very strong, and Transcendence also being stronger. But now I can see it just for that huge bonus damage. Hasten Katana. Basic attack focused assassins are struggling. The Hasten Katana is their core item, so we're decreasing the cost of them, decreasing the cost to get them online faster and help compensate for other expensive must-build items like Kin's Blades, Kin's Size. But yeah, decreased cost from 2,400 to 2,200. I think that's a good change for Hasten Katana, simply because Hasten Katana has a lot of good stats, so it's very valuable now for those who can make use of it. And the stats itself don't really need changing. I see the problem more in the fact that it's not enough for AA assassins, but it's a start. And I've been talking about this recently that they really don't get much at the moment. But I would like to see, again, I would like to see more separation between hunters and assassins, AA assassins, when it comes to their play styles, when it comes to things that give them different benefits. So maybe if you can't decrease the price of kin size, then make it a little bit better for AA assassins, or decrease the price and make it a little bit worse for hunters, for example. Same thing can be considered for the SLOTH Midgardian Male, and that's what we're coming to next year. Midgardian Male gets a health reduction from 350 to 300. That's realistically not going to change all that much. It's going to change the effective HP of the item for other situations, but against AA assassins, it doesn't really matter how much health or effective HP you have overall, because usually they will not try to shred you down when you have Midgardian Male, because it will just hinder them from attacking anyone else unless you're the last person left. But then it doesn't matter much anyway. So, yeah, maybe not really getting to the core of the issue yet. But it's a start, and I like seeing this. I just hope that it's not like, this is it for AA assassins. We're going to ignore them for 5 patches now. But mid-season patch is coming up soon as well, so let's see. Guard balance. Achilles gets a nerf. Surprising nerf to me personally. He's still a very valued character, but I feel like he's a bit overvalued at this point after his nerfs. So, well, okay, I guess. Gift of the Guard's physical power bonus decreased from 10 plus 2 per level to 3 plus 2 per level. So quite a significant early game decrease there, and movement speed bonus decreased from 3% plus 0.2% per level to 1% plus 0.25 per level, meaning you also end up with 1% less at the end. Now, it's kind of funny, right? I made a rant about Achilles and people were saying he was absolutely fine and I was completely wrong, and he's got 2 more nerfs since. But this nerf is a bit... The thing is that I feel that there isn't that much of a reason for anyone to use the aggressive stance, the shirtless stance now early on. Because, well, maybe if you really want that little bit of extra power, but really early on power is not what you need, but pen is what you need, you know, when we work with a base damage here. And likewise, the movement speed is nice, but it's not crazy. And if you're playing him in a jungle, then you're gonna use the movement speed buff anyways, so you're not that dependent on it. And when you're in solo, I'm pretty sure you're better off getting the defense and the health now at any point. And I think that was what they're trying to achieve here, that people would not use the extra power bonus early on for aggression and for clearing in solo, because you can still go for defensive item choices in the build at the same time, and Warrior's Blessing would be enough. But I feel like, you know, if you want to balance it that way, maybe nerf the defensive stance of the passive a little bit as well and buff something else in return. Seems like very one-sided now, but oh well. We'll see. I was not expecting another nerf to Achilles. I was expecting him to get buffed at some point rather than that, but here we are. Chiron. Chiron gets his training exercise adjusted mostly. Increase the duration of CC immunity from an instant cleanse to 0.3 seconds immunity. 0.3 seconds really isn't long. It's really not long. It's more for the fact that it's visible. It's like a visual representation of you being CC immune by glowing gold for 0.3 seconds. And then at the same time, adjusted the time at which the cleanse triggers from before the setup or pre-fire to after the setup or pre-fire. This is kind of a nerf. Because before it was basically instant, the moment that you used it, you would get cleansed, and now it's slightly later. But it lasts slightly longer, so it kind of evens it out, but it's definitely not like a major change or anything. A Masterful Shot, on the other hand, gets an increased physical protection reduction from 3% to 5%, and I think that's quite something, at least, with how Titan's Bane got nerfed and it's less valuable now. Like 5% shred, just, you know, for free. It's nice. It's good. I think Chiron is not like a crazy good character, but as an ability-based hunter, he's a little bit slept on at the moment, and I think we could, especially with his buffs, see him a little bit more. Discarded just gets a fix to the Apple could like it could visually disappear before hitting a target or reaching max range. So it was more of a misleading thing. Yeah, that's it. Guan Yu, Conviction, decreased boosted healing from 2 times healing to 1.5 times healing. And that is kind of fine, as he already has, like, through his buff, he will have more healing across the game. Especially more self-healing, because he will be fighting so much and staying up with the passive so much and not running the risk of burning the passive through a single ability as long as he stays in combat. So he can spam heal a lot more, and especially in trades, this is very rough in solo lane. You trade back and forth, but he just keeps sustaining while dealing a very high amount of damage. I think this nerf will tone him down a little bit, but I'm expecting more nerfs to him. I think he's very, very strong right now, and maybe a little bit overrated after these buffs. I expect he will be staying in the same position. Maybe may not be as good in any situation, but he will still be a very strong character. And then we have Habois. Habois gets a buff and a nerf. So increased base HP from 365 to 400. Decreased HP per level from 68 to 67. That's definitely an overall win. The reasoning here is that he's got very high ability damage with very low cooldown, allowing him to push lanes faster than anyone else, and unrivaled burst damage. But he tends to see a large drop in performance as he highest level of play, so a slight shift is being introduced. That means basically, you know, he can't just get shut down as hard on the highest level of play, as hard in some regards, but in return, he will also be made a little less pop stumpy by nerfing water cannon, and that's quite a significant nerf here. Decrease the base damage from 90 to 290 to 70 to 290, meaning the last instance of it, the rank 5 ability damage is the same. So if you max that out early on, then it will be at that point relatively quickly still, but the early aggression, the early kill potential, the early snowball potential goes down quite significantly, and that is something that matters. Kukulkan, just fix where the whirlwind would appear horizontally. Excuse me. And Kuzenbo gets a fix that's also a buff. Warrior Grave reduced the forgiveness timer between the individual hits from 0.7 to 0.6. This was due to a bug where players would most likely not get hit 4 times in his ultimate, even if they should have. Buffs him in a nice way, I guess, but it's good. It's weird if it does, like, you swing in front of someone, but he doesn't actually get knocked back anymore, so cool. Medusa gets a buff. Viper Shot increased the number of shots from 3 at all ranks to 3, 3, 3, 4, 4. That, I think, is interesting, because it gives a bit more of a reason to max it, but typically you won't max it second anyways. So it's not like you're going to max it first now, I think. So nothing really changed in that regard. You're still going to level the 2, then the Viper Shot, then the 3. Or ultimate in between, obviously. And I think in a different meta with different builds, it could affect her trading potential more. Right now, I am not so sure. But if you can run her with crit, if you can do something like Poison Star Deathbringer, if you want to, run an ability-based build, then this could have a crit-based build, sorry. This could have a decent impact with an extra shot. Note that when Deathbringer was extremely strong, I think it was Vote who actually said that Medusa would be the best guard with this, because of how Viper Shot works and how well it works with crit in that regard. And then we have Naja, Windfire Wheels, fix an issue where the target hit by his ultimate could move side to side when landing. Nike, Sentinel of Zeus, this ability will slow enemies by 40% whether plan of action is active or not. That, I think, is very interesting, very strong. Allows her to use the 1 more with 3 hits, have some more teamfight impact through damage that way if she wants to, and the disarm, or she can leap in quicker as well if she wants to, or she can just go for the big ult still with more shield. But I like this change. I think that makes it a bit more interesting to play. Even though she still has a very plain kit, I think it's a good change anyways. And then we have Vamana, Colossal Fury. Fix an issue where Colossal Fury was not getting extended duration for taking damage, which is actually quite annoying. I don't know how long it's been in the game, but definitely good that it's fixed. And that's it for the patch notes. You heard my opinion second time now. This time a little bit more condensed. And with that, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If this was interesting and insightful to you and you enjoyed it, and you're new to the channel, feel free to leave a sub, maybe click on the bell as well. You know, it helps me out. Other than that, see you for the next one tomorrow. DukeSloth, out.